What's up everybody, it's Brandon from Tattooing 101. And I remember at the beginning of my journey becoming a tattoo artist, how exciting it was to be able to figure out about new styles and understand all of the differences between styles to choose what you want to go for when you're first starting out. However, one of the biggest common problems when it comes to new artists is figuring out the direction that they want to go and what tattoo style they want to focus on. So today we're going to break down what makes a neo-traditional style and also why I chose it with my career path of becoming a professional tattoo artist. So when I first started tattooing, the only thing I was able to tattoo was traditional. So single line weights, very limited color palette. You're gonna have yellows, greens, reds, you know, the basic of colors that they had way back in the day when they were tattooing. And this is what made traditional tattooing so popular. You know, when tattooing first started, they didn't have a ton of different needle groupings, bug pin needles. You actually had to solder your own needles. So they were very limited on what they were able to do. And I really enjoyed learning about the history of traditional style tattooing when I first started, but I felt like I wasn't able to use my creativity, which was the main reason I got into tattooing in the first place. So I was kind of like picking out designs that people already gotten 10,000 times and just trying to make my own style to them. And then it got too far that it wasn't traditional in the first place. So for a while I was stuck in this in-between to where I really didn't know, and there wasn't really a name for my style because I was like trying to add on to traditional and do different colors and things. And it just ended up looking awkward at the end of the day. And then one of my mentors at the time picked out a color tattoo for me to do, and it was more in a new school kind of neo-traditional style. And when I first started out, there wasn't a ton of online presence, you know, there wasn't Instagram, things like that, to where you could just go see hundreds of thousands of tattoos if you pull up your page. And no one around where I started tattooing in Pennsylvania was really doing those styles, so it's not something that I saw on a daily basis. So whenever I saw this style, I knew I was going to be in love with it. The first tattoo I did in this, I was able to do different line weights, do some different colors, and it came out looking awesome. Now, mind you, awesome for where I was in my career. If I looked back on that, you know, 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't be too happy with it right now. But it was something interesting, it was something new that really helped spark that inner creativity in me to help pushing forward, because my apprenticeships, I went through 3, really were rough on my mental fortitude for sure. You know, there was plenty of times I wanted to give up. So that was a major turning point of my career, is finding a style that I really enjoyed doing, that I was able to push the envelopes on and actually make a living doing this. So now let's point out what makes neo-traditional stand out, what makes it its own style. So with neo-traditional, you're going to have different line weights. So doing the outside edge with nice bold lines and all the detailed with like a 3-round liner or a smaller liner so you can see the differences really helps the depth of the design and creates a really nice look. You know, if you did everything with a really bold liner, it's really hard to kind of see the details and create that depth that you need in order for the design to really hold up through time and look really good. Now, by all means, I'm not knocking traditional tattooing. It's actually a lot harder to do than it looks, but it's just something that I've done traditional for so long in my career, I just needed a change, which is where neo-traditional tattooing came in. Now, the other thing I needed to learn was I was used to doing all these traditional designs with just pepper shading, you know, just whip shading, and I needed to create smooth blending with this new style I was getting into. So that introduced me into like bug pin needles and using different colors, skin tone colors, in order to make those really smooth transitions you need to have a neo-traditional tattoo look really, really good. Then the next thing, which is probably my favorite, is the color palette. You're able to use a lot of muted colors that I've always really liked whenever I'm doing artwork, you know, like olive greens or mold greens, which is solid colors. And instead of like a really bright yellow, you can use an El Dorado from Solid. So it's like this yellow, but it has more of a orangish tint to it. So it looks more gold, and it looks really, really great on neo-traditional tattoos. Now, the biggest stand apart when it comes to new school and neo-traditional is neo-traditional has life-size proportions. So if you look at the eyes or a face of a neo-traditional tattoo, or if it's an animal, you're actually using references of real life things, kind of like you would with realism, but you're drawing it with the line weights there to make the tattoo. So with new school, you're going to create, big eyes and make it look super crazy because that's the style. But with neo-traditional, you're actually using the correct proportions that you would see in real life, which I feel makes a really nice look for a tattoo. So with neo-traditional tattooing, it really helped me be able to open up my mind and create cooler designs with more flow to the body. That's another thing that traditional really doesn't have. You just place them on the body, fill them in with some of the dots and stars like traditional style tattoo filler. But with neo-traditional, you could add elements like flames, thorns, smoke, clouds. The possibilities are endless when it comes to being able to introduce flow to your designs. So whenever you are getting into neo-traditional, understanding how the body flows is a big deal, and also using references of real life people of the places you're going to tattoo. You can't just draw a design and hope it's going to flow with the body. You need to get a picture of your client, which you're able to get on a more emotional level with your client and build kind of that respect between the two of you and create a design that really works perfectly with their body. So these are the things that really helped me get through my tattoo career. So if you're struggling with finding a style, the best thing I could say is look at other artists. Look at what they're doing. Look at what is working for them. And whatever you feel inside is giving you inspiration to keep going, that's probably the style you're going to go with. If you wake up in the morning, you're drawing traditional style stuff, and that's what you love to do, then you can make a career doing pretty much any style that you want to get into. But the biggest thing is doing something that's going to keep that creativity going throughout the life of your career. So when you're tattooing for 10 years doing the same thing, that drive's going to potentially die eventually. With any creative mind, it's going to happen. You talk to any of the famous artists doing one style out there, eventually they're going to branch off, try something different, try some new colors, or try a different style completely just to keep that kind of inspiration going. You don't want to get burnt out because then you're stuck getting in the routine of not liking your job, hating waking up, hating drawing all night. Because let's be serious, as a tattoo artist, a lot of your time is taken up either tattooing, drawing, preparing for clients, or replying to clients. That is every day of your life. So if you're stuck in that repetitive motion, you're going to get burnt out. So doing those things are going to save you from becoming another burnout tattoo artist in the industry and keep that drive going to always get to the next level. And I remember my first mentor, the one thing he always told me is the day that you believe you know everything with tattooing is the day you need to quit. So I'm always trying to push the envelope on a style, get better in any way that I can, or try out new supplies that might make my life either easier or even more efficient for me or my client. So that is the story of how I got into neo-traditional tattooing and my favorite tattoo style to tattoo as of right now. If you would like to learn more about how to tattoo in the neo-traditional style specifically from me, make sure to check out the neo-traditional course. As always, thank you so much for listening to me talk, and have a wonderful day.